Now, this week marks 1 month since the United Nations declared famine in South Sudan and warnings that Nigeria, Yemen and Somalia could soon follow. In a race against time to prevent 4 famines in Africa and Western Asia, the UN and its humanitarian agencies need to raise $5.6 billion. The latest available figures show that the United Nations had raised just $90 million by the end of February. Around $4.4 billion is needed within the next few weeks to help fight the crisis. All 4 hardest hit countries, South Sudan, Somalia, Nigeria and Yemen, are affected by war, making it difficult for humanitarians to deliver aid to starving people. Right, let's discuss the famine and drought situation in Africa more with Gabriel Rugalema. He is the representative for the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations in Kenya. Now, it is more than a month since famine was declared in South Sudan and a famine warning issued in Somalia, Nigeria and Yemen, northeast Nigeria rather. Are we any closer now to resolving this food crisis?
Thank you. No, we are not closer because the situation that led us there hasn't really changed. The drought hasn't eased. The relief effort has been ongoing but is not sufficient. And of course, in those countries, the other dimension is conflict and it hasn't really eased. So, yeah, we are not very close to resolving this problem.
Now, reports that we've heard indicate that only about $90 million has, of the required $4.4 billion has been raised to facilitate these efforts. Why has the progress been so slow?
I think let me give a little bit of context. A few weeks ago, there was this Oslo humanitarian conference in which about $672 million were pledged. So we have started fairly well. The pledges have been done. I think the problem is actually in identifying the resources, allocating them, and sometimes converting the resources into commodities such as maize, to ship out to the needy countries. But yes, the resources are few, and yes, we need to do more.
And what happens if the funds are not raised in time?
That's a very frightening question. It's very frightening because we will lose lives that we would have prevented, that it will be a blemish on the consciousness of the world to have lost the people whose lives we must have saved. But then we will have to learn one thing. First, start early to respond. The second one is to have, I think, resources at country level. Kenya is leading the way with this emergency fund initiative. And the third, I think we have to tap in more the private sector resources. We have always depended on private sector. Finances are tight, but we need to look on the other side and bring in the private sector.
Mr. Rugalema, thank you very much for joining us on Africa Live. That was Gabriel Rugalema, the FAO Kenya representative, joining me here in studio.